What happens when a homeless girl walks into a world of millionaires, asking only to play the piano? The answer will shock everyone. The city streets were alive with luxury cars, sparkling storefronts, and people who moved with purpose. Among them, a young girl in tattered clothes clutched a small, worn notebook to her chest. Her shoes were scuffed, and her hair tangled, but her eyes held a quiet determination. She approached the grand doors of the music academy, each step trembling with hope and fear. Inside, the millionaire owner noticed her instantly. He was tall, impeccably dressed, and carried an air of superiority. A cruel smile spread across his face as he looked down at the girl. "What are you doing here?" he sneered. "This place is not for children like you." His laughter echoed across the marble hall, sharp and cold. The girl's heart sank, but she whispered almost to herself, "I just want to play, just once." Passers-by stopped to watch. Some whispered in disbelief. Others shook their heads, stunned at the man's arrogance. A mother tugged her child closer, muttering about how cruel people could be. Yet, despite the humiliation, the girl straightened her back. She took one last longing look at the grand piano behind the glass doors and turned away, her resolve unbroken. Her small figure faded into the busy street, leaving a silence heavy with tension. The millionaire returned to his life of comfort, unaware that this rejection had planted a spark. Somewhere in the girl's heart, a quiet promise was forming. She would find a way. The question hung in the air. How could someone so small, so overlooked, ever reach the keys of her dreams? For the young girl, music was more than a dream. It was her escape. Growing up in crowded shelters with the constant noise of despair and hardship, the piano was her sanctuary. Every note she imagined carried her away from the cold floors, the empty meals, and the loneliness that clung to her life. On the streets, she found an old, broken keyboard someone had discarded. Its keys were chipped and uneven, but to her, it was a treasure. Each evening, she pressed the keys softly, her fingers aching, her heart pouring into melodies no one had yet heard. Meanwhile, inside the academy, the millionaire's arrogance swelled. At a gala celebrating his latest donations, he boasted to friends and colleagues, "Only the best deserve music. This is a place for those who belong." His words drew nods of agreement, applause even, reinforcing the walls society had built around privilege. They praised him for maintaining standards, blind to the talent and passion of those outside his golden gates. The girl passed by the academy one afternoon and overheard the conversation. Her small hands clenched around her notebook. A fire ignited within her. Talent, she thought, was not measured by wealth. Passion could not be owned by the elite. Her dream was not just for herself. It was proof that anyone, no matter how overlooked, could rise. Every day she practiced harder, each note sharper, each rhythm stronger. And though no one yet knew, she was preparing for a moment that would stop the world in its tracks. The very people who laughed at her might one day watch in stunned silence. A breakthrough was coming, though neither she nor the millionaire could yet imagine how extraordinary it would be. Long before she approached the Grand Academy, the girl's love for music had quietly grown in the corners of her life. Years ago, she had met an old street musician, his hands worn and rough but his touch on the piano magical. He had seen something in her eyes, a hunger, a spark, and offered her secret lessons whenever she could find the coins to pay. She saved every scrap, every small coin she earned from odd jobs, to buy pieces of sheet music. Night after night, she would huddle in the dim light of the shelter, practicing on her tattered keyboard, fingers aching, memorizing every note. Sometimes she would pause to comfort a younger child crying nearby or share a small piece of bread with someone hungrier than herself. Her days were long, her hardships many, but her love for music was unwavering. Over the years, her skill became extraordinary. She could play the most complex pieces flawlessly, feeling every emotion the composer had poured into the notes. Yet no one had ever seen her on a real stage. She had only ever dreamed of the grand piano she glimpsed through the academy windows, its polished keys waiting like a promise. Meanwhile, the millionaire lived a life of glittering superficiality, lavish parties, endless photos, accolades that praised his wealth rather than his heart. He had never known struggle, sacrifice, or the quiet joy of earning every note through relentless effort. One evening, as the sun dipped low and the streets emptied, she found herself outside the academy once more. Her heart pounded, a mixture of fear and excitement. With a deep breath, she slipped inside through a side door left slightly ajar, the polished grand piano waiting in silence. She paused, her fingers hovering above the keys, every sound she had ever imagined ready to pour out. The question lingered in the air. Would she be discovered? Would this be the night her life changed forever? The girl's fingers hovered over the keys for a heartbeat, then began to play. The notes filled the empty academy, delicate at first, then swelling into a powerful emotional melody that seemed to breathe life into every corner of the grand hall. Each chord carried her years of struggle, her dreams, her hope. The music was flawless, yet it was more than skill. It was a story told without words, reaching anyone who listened with its raw emotion. From the balcony, the millionaire paused mid-conversation. His guests had left hours ago, but the music drew him in. He stepped silently into the hall, disbelief etched across his face. The arrogance that had always shielded him began to crumble as he realized the depth of the girl's talent. The polished halls he had once filled with laughter at her expense now resonated with her triumph. Outside, social media clips started circulating almost instantly. Students passing by captured the notes on their phones, sharing them with friends. Bystanders in the street stopped to listen to the echoes, whispering in awe at the girl who had dared to dream. The world was watching. The millionaire tried to regain control, to scold, to dismiss her, but every gesture, every word of mockery he once used now seemed hollow and petty. He lowered his gaze, a rare humility softening his features. Finally he spoke, offering her formal lessons at the academy, a recognition she had earned through persistence and heart. The girl smiled gently, accepting the opportunity without a trace of bitterness. She had proven herself not with anger or revenge, but with patience, courage, and unmatched talent. Her music had broken through walls of wealth, prejudice, and doubt. The academy, once a symbol of exclusion, now echoed with her spirit, and the world could not look away. Months later, the girl stood on a grand stage, the bright lights casting a warm glow over an audience that now included friends, strangers, and even the millionaire who had once turned her away. The applause that followed her first note was thunderous, filling the hall with admiration and awe. She played with a heart open to the world, every melody a testament to years of struggle, sacrifice, and unwavering determination. As she finished, the crowd rose in a standing ovation. Cameras flashed, social media buzzed, and comments poured in praising her talent, dedication, and courage. People everywhere were inspired by her journey, a story of resilience against cruelty, of dreams that refused to be silenced. Her message was simple but powerful. Talent and hard work are stronger than wealth, social status, or prejudice. Anyone can rise, achieve, and shine if they refuse to give up. She had transformed rejection into triumph, mockery into respect, and hardship into art. The millionaire watched quietly, humbled and changed, understanding that kindness and opportunity matter as much as skill. She smiled gently, offering her music as a bridge between worlds once separated by arrogance and privilege. And now, she turns to the viewers, a quiet invitation in her eyes. Support dreams, recognize hidden talent, and never underestimate anyone, no matter their circumstances. Share this story. Let it inspire others. Subscribe to witness more tales where courage and heart triumph over doubt and cruelty.